Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Dissonant Waves. This is the nicest episode yet. This is episode 69.
Nice.
And we got 3 albums, as usual, to talk about. Ritalin and Tricks are both here.
Yes.
I just want to note how we have like 2 albums that at least have stuff that's kind of like sex related on it. And granted, I haven't gone through all the parts of yours, Dominic, but you decided, hey, episode 69, just chuck fucking death in there.
So, yes, Machine Gun Fellatio is paging Mr. Strike. A pretty sex-filled album. Mathwax is Mathwax. Pretty sex-filled. Now, you may be wondering why David Bowie's Blackstar is here. And the answer, okay. David Bowie, known international iconic sex symbol, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, died after turning 69.
Oh.
2 days after his birthday.
Oh, damn.
Since this is episode 69, and it's also following Paralytic Stocks, here we are.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, Ritalin, did you listen to the stuff for last time?
Let's pretend I did.
Okay, because you wanted to give your opinions on the other.
I only get as much time as I do. I have a week that's usually full of working, and I just don't have enough time to put them on and actually listen to them. Sometimes I try to put it on in the background to help, but I can eventually give you some opinions. I've listened to Paralytic Stalks once, and I can tell you I can't really remember anything from it because that's just an era of Montreal that I never got into. I know you two are wrong about Temper Trap.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can mount your Temper Trap defense here.
It's a good album. It's not the most best album. I'm not going to defend it to the point in which I'm fucking going to die on the hill of Temper Trap. But it's a good album. Love Loss is one of my favorite openers, and Sweet Disposition and Fader are fantastic songs.
Fair enough.
That's about it. That's as far as I'm going to go. And then I haven't listened to Oingo Boingo, but I need to listen to Oingo Boingo, so I can't make any comments on that.
All right.
Okay.
There's my week.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Which then leaves us with the 3 albums that are before us. Which one do we want to dive into first?
Well, I feel like we're going to do David Bowie last, and deservingly so.
So let's get sex out of the way.
MGF?
Alright.
Sure, let's do it. Machine Gun Fellatio.
I will probably start this off then. So, Machine Gun Fellatio's kind of a super group. It's kind of a weird way to explain them because it's a large collective of people, but they weren't really in other known stuff. But you will know some of the stuff, especially in Australia, that they've done. One of the members who it's not on this album, but joined later, Fiance. Later ended up forming, or I guess not forming, but joining Sneaky Sound System, which had a couple hits here. Matt Ford / Pinky Beecroft helped co-write some of them. One of the most famous songs in the past 30 years for Australia, with No Aphrodisiac. And I mean, the other members have just been like there and then. Those are probably the 2 most famous ones that I was just kind of highlighting. So it's a band that even if you don't really know them, you kind of still know the stuff that they've done, and it's a talented group of members. And then they formed this band, which was kind of very underground, but somehow still managed to they had 1 hit in Australia, and that's it. But they still managed to make enough waves in the underground scene that they had quite a following.
And that was Roller Coaster, right?
Roller Coaster was their only charting hit. But you go into Hottest 100s, and despite not being on the charts, songs like Motherfucker on a Motorcycle, I think 100 Fresh Disciples, and probably what's considered by a lot of MGF fans to be their best song, Unsent Letter, all reached Hottest 100s. And then in this one, obviously, Roller Coaster reached number 6, and Pussytown, despite not even getting onto the charts, reached number 8. So they have quite a big following. And this is a band that is just chaotic. They've had a lot of controversies with their live performances because they can't handle having their clothes on. Obviously, a lot of their songs. You look on their Wikipedia. It's not not just male nudity. It's not just female nudity. It's a mixture of all.
Yeah. I mean, with
Fair
names
enough.
like KK Juggy, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, Pinky Beecroft is still a great name. Fiance, which is a parody of Beyonce. There's so many other goddamn names on there. The roller coaster music video, if you haven't seen it, it's a good recommendation because it actually shows all the names next to all the band members. Plus, I mean, that song's probably the best way to get into MGF. It's pretty much a good description of them. But yeah, they're a very chaotic band. A lot of their songs are very sex-filled, but unlike so many early noughties bands that made sex-filled songs, these songs are actually goddamn sexy.
And written pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Ford is an absolutely talented songwriter.
I will say that
And-
I will be convinced, just for no reason, that KK Junkie is the inspiration for KK Slider.
Probably, I think it does predate. Oh
Yeah.
no, I think when did original Animal Crossing come out?
2001 in Japan.
Then yes.
Alright.
And this song, this album, sorry, starts off with this kind of very smooth, sensual, all of them ladies, very simplistic song, but great opener, sets the complete tone for this album, and then it goes right into Pussy Town, and you think a song like Pussy Town, you think it's just going to be absolutely cringy, but it's by far the sexiest song on this album. Pretty much just 3 minutes of just pure energy about going down. Like, it's pure funk energy is how I'm going to put it, or R&B, I guess.
Yeah.
All about
Yeah.
going down on a girl. Apologies if you can hear my partner in the background, by the way. Definitely a very early highlight on here. There's like this really strong stretch of songs actually at the start, from pretty much from All Them Ladies to Roller Coaster. I'd say
Yeah.
are all massive highlights. And it's not to put down any of the rest of the album as well. I think there's also quite a strong ending to this as well.
Yes.
Specifically, The Girl of My Dreams is giving me nightmares. It's actually one of my favorite Machine Gun Fellatio songs. It's just so... it just flows so well. It's so smooth, so... It's just so interesting of a song, despite being quite simplistic as well.
What's cool is that all the first 5 or so songs, all the titles like fairly much like flow into each other. It's like, okay, all of them ladies. Then you kind of you grab one, then you go down the Pussy Town, and then it's like take it slow, but then make it a roller coaster. You know,
Yeah.
roller coaster, line of silver. That visual metaphor is just right there.
And there's a lot of like sounds that go on in this album as well. And this is always what happens in a good album, is then where there's a lot of sounds that come together and they try this kind of like variety, but then it all just works together, and this is an album that does it. It's probably one of the most underrated albums
Yes.
to come out of the early noughties Australia, I would say. It's not down there with one of my favorites. I know there's like a lot, but this is a true solid album by a chaotic bunch of songwriters.
It has a kind of a 90s feel just because of the production and like the way certain songs sound. They just remind me of like kind of that 90s aesthetic of like just having that orchestral stuff in there, kind of that melancholy stuff, like Just Because is that like melancholy feel of some like 90s alt songs. But having it be done in like 2002 is interesting. Like it's like a last bastion of that kind of song style.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely an album that's like, it feels like it should be in an earlier era, but it still, despite feeling a bit dated, also doesn't.
But that's also to its advantage.
It definitely helped it stand out in the era that it did.
Yes.
Specifically, because again, this band got quite a bit of notice in the underground scene for Australia. You don't get top 10 hottest 100 without being somewhat known. Yeah, I guess back earlier in the day it was a bit easier to do so, but it's still not easy. You don't just randomly make a song and get there. And you don't do it consistently for the period that they did. Like, they put out 3 albums, none of them were big hits, and they still consistently made it comfortably in there because they had that much of a following, because there was enough people who were interested in the sound at the time, and that's what worked to their advantage.
I believe Trick said it best in that she was offended that it took this long to get this album.
And which I replied in saying that this is the perfect number 96, 69 album. Sorry, why did I say 96?
Yes, perfect 69 album. Man, it's They do that thing where I know like some songs are on the EP and then they bring it over to the album, but the sequencing on this album is so good that it really feels like everything is meant to be here. Everything is perfectly sequenced. Like
I can't remember if there was an EP that had these songs.
I believe there was like an All of Them Ladies EP or something.
It might have just been a single, to be honest. I will actually go check that. But I know their first EP definitely was, because Motherfucker and 100 Fresh Disciples both got him to bring it on. I'm just checking this out. You might actually be. It's a For the Ladies
Yeah,
EP.
that one.
I'm gonna go quickly and check the discogs of this. That came out in 2002, so you might be somewhat correct. However, that actually only has 2 of the songs on there, so it's not too bad.
Okay, yeah.
Because I know The Girl of My Dreams got released in 2001.
Okay.
Because it was an earlier song, and then Take It Slow was also on there. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, Love Comes to an End, Impossible Love, and For the Ladies. 3 EP.
I know the Impossible Love one because I actually found that at a I think at a garage sale earlier this year.
Yeah.
Which is good because it's not on Spotify. And the EP cover for that is I believe it's a rabbit fucking a chicken.
Okay.
So a little not safe for work.
Yeah. Worth noting, of course, also that this album was not streaming in America.
Yeah, this is the only album where I've actually seen a MA15+ rating on the album cover.
I believe we ended up being a YouTube rip that we could have gone to, but it was pretty buried because it's pretty obscure, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like they had a big enough following here, so.
Which is a shame because this is legitimately interesting. I think worthy of having more attention. Tism is still better, I think, but I can understand I think Australian comedy acts in music seem to be a lot better than kind of their contemporaries. Like maybe Tenacious D at their prime is still better. I enjoyed this album more than like the Ween stuff we've done recently. Probably Rise of the Phoenix. It's just behind, great trucking songs.
I would agree. If it's above Great Trucking Songs or below it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Great Trucking Songs is such a magnanimous project. I feel like it's so long.
Yeah, they're both comparable bands because they are somewhat contemporaries. Although Machine Gun and Tism's Lifeline.
I mean, they ended around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah, MGF started around, but they started around the time that Tism's popularity was starting just to fade a little.
Yeah.
They ended around the same time, but I think MGF was a little bit afterwards. So maybe it was around the same time.
So I'm very curious how the albums that came out around the same time would compare to a Machine Gun Fellatio album.
I mean, we're listening to... So White Album, I believe, was 2004. And the Tism one we heard was 1995. So...
And Wanker is 98.
Yeah, Wanker was 98. So... I guess we'll find out when we do the White Album.
Yeah.
Exactly how they compare with each other. I'm finding I'm trying to do a disagreement here, but I kind of can't. I think you're kind of correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being right for once. How about that?
Yeah. That is a rarity for Dominic.
I do want to shout out "Let Me Be Your Dirty Fucking Whore" being one of the it goes for a style. It goes for that 40s girl group singing style, like a Disney thing or like a show tune movie thing.
I think it's also the dirtiest song that we've covered on this podcast.
But it also
yeah,
I was gonna say it also flawlessly handles that style and ends up still being entertaining despite being as crude as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It just through the sheer sincerity of it, ironically, it for me at least, it becomes very more interesting and intriguing than like offensive or like, oh my god, how could you do that? Blah 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 blah.
Plus, it doesn't go on for too long. It realizes it's a quick, short joke song. It doesn't want to be 5 minutes of it.
Right, which is
It kind
totally
of just
fair.
like it does the joke and then just heads off to the ending.
Yeah.
It's a song. It's a song that's there for the shock value. I would admit, and it's not. It's still probably my least favorite on here, but like it's still kind of funny.
Like it goes good between songs like Chase the Dragon and Just Because those are kind of like more mellow, slower songs.
Yeah.
And so having this like interjected in between keeps it interesting. And I think still has that like really great sequencing kind of come back up in the end.
And then there's also the one that we haven't talked about is My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend, which is this kind of acoustic track. I'm not sure if it was actually recorded live or what it was.
Yeah,
I think it might have been.
But
it's so weird.
Think
it's so weird to have like this kind of live sounding track. There have been a lot of albums I've heard where they've tried to do the kind of live sound and put it in. This one fits in. This is one where I feel like it's done well.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like even if it's fake, I don't know. I think it's actually a real live recording. But there's enough albums where they put in like the crowd sounds and do it and they overextend it. And here it's like, well, it actually fits with the album because it's the kind of this album really kind of swaps between that kind of like funky, chaotic R&B and that mellow kind of sound. Like if you grab two random songs from here and gave it to somebody, they might not actually kind of realize that they're from the same album. So say if you grabbed Roller Coaster and My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend, a lot of people wouldn't realize they're from the same album, but when you listen to it, you kind of like they flow together.
Yeah, it's an amazing range that they have.
Thanks. I was just gonna say, I think My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend is probably my favorite song off the album.
It's definitely a highlight. Again, it has that very 90s feel too. So it's just kind of cool seeing that stuff and like kind of a different context of just like this feels very melancholy, very 90s. Like the whole sound of the song is like kind of just nostalgic for me, at least.
There's an essential, like there's an album, just a compilation. That's like their essential hits and stuff like that, which is kind of a bit weird. Like they don't actually really have hits besides Roller Coaster. But My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend is actually on that album, and they decided that hey, out of the 10 songs of our whole discography, we're gonna put that on there.
Good on them.
Yeah, which is kind of like somewhat interesting as well because they had a song called "What the Fuck," which was another one of the ones that charted in the Hottest 100. That's not on here, so they didn't choose that. So they decided I guess they decided that this was like, hey, here's the 10 most MGF songs and put it on there. So it's kind of interesting that they I guess they themselves or the label, I guess, someone decided like, yeah, that song is the kind of like definitive MGF song.
It's probably one of the most accessible and relatable.
Yeah,
because it's like he's the is it just Pinky Beecroft?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of got the audience going with him in the whole recording. They're laughing along, and he's kind of making a show out of it. He's kind of singing in like funny ways and kind of commenting on everything that's happening. He makes it
definitely a song. I don't think that could exist without like it being live.
Also, be a great single. Yeah. Surprised they never got it. Just.
But yeah, no, good album. I like it. I like some MGF when I can. We haven't. Sorry, I'm just gonna die. We haven't really talked too much about the big song off here, Roller Coaster. I mean, it itself, despite being chaotic, is probably one of those so like more accessible lyrically. I mean, they've actually played it on I think the reason why it was a hit, it was played on a commercial for Just Jeans, so it was like a fashion commercial that it got played on.
I can totally see like that commercial type of thing where it's just playing and it's like you're like, oh, what's that song? And you get into it, it's like Machine Gun Fellatio. Got it.
And then you go into all their other songs, and it's like, oh, I should not have given this to my kid. Here's the thing. I have a good friend. He's like heavily Christian family, but for some reason, their music taste is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And he listened to this album because they had it all the time on road trips as a kid.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
that
that.
is.
I think that's just the difference
Yeah.
between Australian Christians and and American Christians, I guess, because you'd assume a Christian, like a regular Christian family over at yours, or maybe it's not that different. They're just not tight asses. Those are very possible.
That is totally possible.
But like, this is not the one
Definitely.
that you'd expect any Christian family to be playing.
No.
You would assume they would have thrown it out after let me be a dirty fucking whore.
Yeah, even if they even got to that
Yeah.
point, because Pussytown comes before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, when I was in when I was in high school, you know, we had like Mormon classmates. You know, they were very into being Mormon, but they were also like, hey, you know, I also listen to Wu-Tang. I'm just like all of y'all. Yeah, Wu-Tang is pretty hardcore. I'm surprised to do that. But
Yeah.
hey, whatever works for you, I guess.
They don't drink, but they listen to Wu-Tang Clan.
And then, you know, a confession will be like, hey, you know, sometimes they drink Arizona iced tea, and I know I shouldn't. It's just so good. It's caffeine. I can't do caffeine either.
Yeah.
But
Ice cream is like the most sold thing in Utah.
it's the way that songs flow like roller coaster, which is what makes this album also so enjoyable. Like, there's this kind of like weird muffled kind of like through a speakerphone kind of
Yeah.
a megaphone kind of like muffled part in roller coaster, and it's such just like kind of weird moments on that. It's so you wouldn't expect a song that's a hit to kind of have as much different like sounds or kind of just what the hell are they doing moments on it.
Yeah.
But for a band that gives off this type of energy, it just works.
In a way,
Yeah.
it reminds me of AFI's Miss Murder, how that song becomes like Screamo for a second. Nobody remembers that when they play Miss Murder.
First, remember that.
And it's like,
It's the best part of Miss Murder, to be honest.
but it's like, oh yeah, they did that on this song too. That's right.
Honestly, I
just
would enjoy Miss Murder so much more if I didn't always think of the fucking music video where he's it's just so fucking seen.
I mean, like, also, I mean, this album has great transitions. Like the transition from Pussytown and the Take It Slow is like amazing, like legitimately a fantastic song change. It's like it's all
Yeah.
Take It Slow. It's just that little drum moment, and then it like goes into from like this alt kind of dance thing into like a real good disco beat. That is smooth as fuck. That's like what Pussytown should be. It's smooth, decadent, really like impressing you. It's technique.
God.
Have we successfully made Dominic straight from this album? Have we been doing what Christians have been trying to do for many years?
Sorry, no.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I was playing it for my coworkers, and they were not as impressed.
Actually, this probably makes you want to fuck Pinky Beecroft, to be honest.
And then I turned on the caretaker for my coworkers, and they were more impressed by that.
I mean, I can understand.
How uptight are your coworkers?
They're pretty open. They were interested when I mentioned it.
Are you sure? If a pretty heavy Christian family can get into this more than your coworkers aren't open.
It was also, you know, late and just fucking around at that point, trying to get stuff done.
Do they not appreciate giving oral to a girl?
I mean, I don't want to comment either way, I guess.
We're going down, 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 downtown, town.
Oh, this is like a fever dream.
Town. Ding ding bow.
At this point, I would like to mention that I have only slept like 4 hours after driving like 13 hours straight yesterday. So,
oh yeah,
this very much feels like a fever dream to me.
Chase the Dragon.
Yeah, fair
tricks.
enough.
Other fun moments. The mirror ball is starting to rock Mark II. That filtered vocal is really tight, and then it just becomes an instrumental. Good shit.
Album,
Good shit. Yeah.
I feel like we should wrap this up, or we're just gonna stay on this album forever.
Favorites. Take It Slow. My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend. Let Me Be Your Dirty Fucking Whore, especially Just Because. Least favorite, Full Moon. Can't remember it.
Least favorite, Let Me Do Your Dirty Fucking Whore. Well, it's not a bad song. It does get old.
Sure.
Favorites, obviously the big hits on here: Pussy Town, Roller Coaster, My Ex-Girlfriend's Boyfriend. Girl of My Dreams is giving me nightmares as well, but you know, I've got to give some respect to Mouth as well. Fantastic, funky song. And Take It Slow as well.
Favorites for me, I'm just gonna go with my ex-girlfriend's boyfriend, and I don't really have a least favorite. It's just a good album.
All right. So that then takes us to Meth Wax. And
we don't have a bad album this week. I just want to point that out.
We don't.
Mathwax is by far number 3, but it's a good album.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me when we did Beach Goons. Like, it's just a solid album in that style.
I enjoyed this
more
than Beach Goons.
I think I enjoy Beach Goons more than this, but still.
I toss it for me.
See Your Blowjobs was a surprisingly alright song despite the name.
Oh yeah, like that's the song I probably remember the most. I think I put it on my playlist.
I gotta say, like the dirtiest song titles this week have had like the best songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daniel Tanghall is pretty interesting as an artist, I will say.
This album art is giving me the album is giving me night. I can't do the flow on that.
And then like his solo album that's on Bandcamp is really interesting as well. That just came out. What is it called again? Apocalyptic Dreamboat.
Yeah, it's also streaming on like Spotify and shit.
Sure, yeah. But we're doing Meth Wax, the self-titled album from his college project, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, his friends. I don't know if this one was recorded with the full band or by himself.
So from the research that I did, before this, he was mostly recording it by himself, doing each part, and then having the band come on for live shows. And this was the first time the band actually recorded the album together.
Gotcha.
Which is why
this is definitely a step up in production quality, because I bought like his entire discography, and I'm like, whoa, it gets lo-fi.
Which is why there's a lot of repeats on here from earlier stuff, because this is like properly recording it finally.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Dream, I'm sorry, that's the song. But this is a really cool album, and it's like I appreciate kind of just doing this in college as your project of just like laying down drums and guitars and your voice and then mixing it on Audacity. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Going real budget, just mixing it by yourself.
And like, they're from Athens, Georgia, just like of Montreal, just like, a number of other groups. They were definitely in a great scene. And got some definite attention just from playing a lot of shows and just being there and kind of having a kind of a funny, goofy style, but still a pretty like straightforward approach. Surf punk, kind of pop punkish stuff. Garage.
Yeah, they're in the surf punk scene. They're definitely one of the more favored bands.
I agree.
Thank you for your input.
Yes.
You're welcome. I'm here for more fresh takes and hot. Just hot.
Hot. Yes.
Fresh takes and hot bakes.
See a Blowjob is honestly probably the most interesting song, both for its like the way it's structured and also its lyrical content for me. Like, it is the one I think of most.
Yeah.
Definitely have like a surprising affection for that.
I could definitely see that.
Even though it's literally just like, I'm swimming in a sea of blowjobs, I'm trying not to scream as I see your mom. Very, very simple, fun lyrics.
Yeah. But it's the instrumentals that like really sell it.
Yeah.
Then you got I think like Rabbits is like a really cute love song, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's all about how his girlfriend wants to eat a baby rabbit and drink its blood, and like I might not be as hardcore as you, but like I still love you. It's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that was a cute song. Yeah. Or it's kind of like a Halloweeny album too, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit of it's kind of dark and like fun like that. Invocation has a lot about zombies and stuff and skeletons.
Zombies and skeletons gonna
Cry Bloody Tears and do a guitar solo.
Yeah. Pheromones is probably the other horny song off of this that like just springs to mind exactly. It's like covering you in hickeys.
Pheromones. Oh, you make me moan. Something like
Something like that, yeah.
yeah, he likes getting turned on when he's stoned, I guess, which, I guess be careful with that.
Yeah, he sings a lot about weed.
Yes.
Now listen to the ASMR of my girlfriend laughing.
Oh yeah, the last several episodes of the podcast have just had that.
Yeah, this is what happens when you live with somebody who plays games in the same room as you. And watch as I have a public argument with my girlfriend live on podcast.
Oh no!
Just kidding.
Got the
no.
feed.
No.
Got the feed.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Remember that controversial Twitch streamer? Yeah, we're not gonna continue on from there. Anyway,
Which
going back
one?
to the album.
No.
You could mean any number of Twitch streamers.
You mean the Russian one, the American one?
A guy who fingered his own asshole.
And well, that's gonna be me one day. But subscribe. When this podcast breaks up, I'm going straight back onto OnlyFans.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna shout out that like the longest song on here is just over 3 minutes. Like they do a lot of work with a lot of just shorter songs.
It's a very chaotic. I mean, this is the second I heard this like first song, I was like, yeah, this is Trix's album.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a Trix album.
This is like if we all had an album to choose, it's like, hey, what's the type of album they pick? And it's not like you can't pick the album that's like their favorite of all time or anything. So you can't pick like a Neutral Milk from Dominic,
Sure.
or even like an Old Montreal from Dominic. But like, say you had to pick an album that would really define what the person usually picks. Meth Wax is just the Trix album.
Right.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Fellatio is a very Ritz album as well, I think.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably like pick a more, I don't know what the word is, but like general, I guess.
Last Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I feel like Last Dinosaurs would probably fit more than MGF.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine would be because there's a lot of different options. But
Alex Boniello.
Fuck you. At least say Cardinal Heart.
I was actually
Cardinal Heart.
I was actually
Cardinal Heart's actually kind of out of left field for you, to be honest. I know
Really?
you've done like I know you've done like the Vinegar Kids and the Calais Marcy, but that's like the only ones I can think of really that's in the same vein as Cardinal Heart. Cardinal Heart was kind of closer to Luca Brasi, which is my pick.
Weekend Run Club?
I was gonna be
they
nice
don't really
and say
sound the
Janelle
same,
Monáe.
do they?
What Trix?
I was gonna be nice and say that like your defining pick would be like Janelle Monáe or something.
Yeah, no, Janelle Monáe would probably fit a bit more.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And anyway, as I'm going on to listen to this, this is like, yeah, this is a Trix pick, but it's also like a good Trix pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have this anywhere near my favorite albums of the year that we've listened to, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
If this is like physically, maybe is there a CD for this? If not, I'll probably just get it on Bandcamp Friday next time.
Probably not.
Probably not, surprisingly.
I looked for a vinyl a while ago and I don't think I could find it.
I think some stuff was on cassette, but I don't know beyond that.
No.
I think it was like only local cassette shit. Like they were like hand rips.
There is a CD.
Oh shit!
Apparently, according to Discogs.
Ooh.
So
maybe it's just out of print.
I'm gonna be spending the rest of this looking for that CD and making sure it's real. Either that, or it was an absolutely fake CD. Who knows?
It's very possible. Again, like kind of like the other thing I mentioned is that this was kind of the finale of Meth Wax as well.
Yeah.
Because they put out stuff after this, but a lot of it, from what I was reading, they kind of ended in 2016. And everything else, I don't know, it's just rehashes, leftovers, everything else.
Yeah.
I like how The label seems
The
to label like number the releases as well. This is apparently the 48th release to the for the label.
That's cool.
mhm. I listened to Luxury Rehab a while ago, and I think that's all stuff that I think that's all solo stuff.
That could be. Yeah, if he was trying to do it by himself for a little bit there.
Yeah. But that one's you got songs like Platonic Handjob and Housewarming Porno.
Yeah, I guess it's an album too.
Yeah, and it came out a year after. It's a much different production sound though.
Yeah, all songs written and performed by Daniel Tangal. Yeah,
Yep.
5 people have bought it on Bandcamp.
Ooh,
Some
ooh,
people might
ooh.
have bought it from the label because
That's
it's
true.
a pay what you want.
Yeah.
And then there's Death, Taxes, and Meth Wax as their final release, which is just everything.
Everything.
If you
Ooh,
wanted
there's
it,
some
there's somewhat.
stuff on that.
I mean, it's 130 songs. There's got to be stuff on it.
Yeah, there's stuff on it.
Yeah, it seems to be a huge undertaking.
Yeah, like there's a song called Koala Chlamydia. You got
Mescaline and
different
Tears.
versions of Sea of Blowjobs and Susie Crabgrass.
Everyone I know is
Um,
making a porno. Beautiful title.
part 2 of Squalene.
Hmm. Well, part 2. Okay.
Rainbow
Yeah,
Penguins.
they're Horse Placenta. Your face always melts in my dreams. I woke up a skeleton. Blood
Should get that
Penis.
fixed.
Goth Girl.
I feel like
Stoned
this is like a lot of different versions of songs because I can see
Yeah.
like Winter Japan
Yeah.
a couple of times there.
Going back to Athens, Shitty City coming after that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate some of the artwork that he's created for this stuff. Just his picture of Ronald McDonald on 2014
Yeah.
or his Horse Placenta cover. Just him with his eyes cut out and just like girls and guys in the background.
So was how many people were a part of this band? Was it just the one guy or?
For this one, it was like
4?
a number of people. Yeah, like 4. He was like the first time he was able to actually record with everybody.
Yeah.
Or maybe 3.
Yeah, 3. It was 3.
It's definitely a bit disappointing that this band hasn't continued on. Who knows what they probably could have done if they did, but I mean, yeah, this isn't a bad thing to leave behind.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least the main guy is still going on, and he's re-recorded a couple Mathwax tunes.
I do want to just point out also that this album was recorded in Athens at the Glow Recording Studios and mastered by a Jesse Mangum.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest Phil Elverum Neutral Milk Hotel crossover we've ever had.
It definitely is.
Like that's a fucking coincidence and a fucking half.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say about this album, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I liked.
Fun album.
I liked the vibe of this. I know it's very similar to a lot of other stuff that Trix has picked in the kind of surf punk realm, but I felt like this one just hit a bit better than a lot of them. I feel like the short runtime of this helps the album as well. And again, nothing goes too long.
Yeah.
Longest song on here being, what, 3 minutes or something?
Yeah.
3 minutes and 1 second.
Yep. Looking at the whole discography, that doesn't really seem to be a pattern that changes. Surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I might not ever go back to it, but it was a fun listen and a half.
I'm glad I own it.
Favorite of Sea of Blowjobs. I don't really have a least favorite on here. Goodbye did drag a little bit, I would admit, but eh.
Kind of echoing that. Favorites to See of Blowjobs. I also like Verge of Destruction. I don't really have a least favorite.
Yeah. Favorite is I quite like Verge of Destruction. Susie Crabgrass is fun too. I really don't have a least favorite off this album, and it's just a real fun album.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, now that we've had fun.
Time to end the trilogy of depressing albums that we've been talking about over the last year. Starting with A Crow Looked at Me, going into Carrie and Lowell, now bringing us to Blackstar by David Bowie.
I just want to point out
Yes.
before any of the kind of stuff goes in here. If we're gonna compare it to the Def albums that were done, this is my least favorite of them. If we're gonna compare it to the albums that we're doing today, I don't know if that's my number one. I enjoy it, but I don't know. I don't know if I appreciate it more than I do MGF. So I might have a hot take there.
That's
especially
fair.
because I know,
And
especially because I know a lot of people do adore this album. I know a lot of people have had an emotional connection with it, and fairly so. David Bowie is one of the most important songwriters and musicians to come out of any period of time.
mhm.
Songs that he has co-written or performed and stuff like that. Man Who Sold the World is a fantastic Bowie's written song. I can't remember if he performed it himself beforehand, but I feel like he did. Ziggy Stardust, fantastic song, and he was also a fantastic album. I don't think I've actually listened to the album in full. Who the fuck can forget Under Pressure?
Yep.
Probably one of the greatest collaborations to happen of the whatever period that was.
Yep.
David Bowie, I can understand the emotional connection people have with David Bowie,
Yeah.
so I'll get to you in a bit, Dominic. And I don't want to completely interrupt you. I wasn't too fully growing up, despite acknowledging this. I know my mum's an absolute Bowie fan. I actually got it for Christmas, Ziggy Stardust jigsaw puzzle.
Nice.
Because I know that's the kind of like
Nice.
she likes doing puzzles and she likes David Bowie, so she had fun with that before the cats decided to sit in the puzzle box.
Oof.
But yeah, it didn't ruin the jigsaw. Don't worry. And I definitely I know people who listened to this album when it came out were kind of like a little still kind of shocked that Bowie was gone, and this album obviously this album is someone who knows he's about to die, so he's putting this album after he's dead, and it is very haunting. This is a haunting album, but I also feel, whilst I appreciate this album, while I do enjoy this album, it does have a little, and this is probably the hottest take that I'm gonna do. It still has the classic Bowie pretentiousness.
I don't really see it as much, I guess. The thing I was gonna say is that we all probably have about the same amount of David Bowie experience. Like, I was never really big into Bowie. I never listened to a ton of it. I just happened to really like this album, having listened to it. You know, it's like, he put it out and then he died 2 days later, and it's like, okay, there's a lot happening here. It's getting a lot of attention, so I'm gonna check it out and see what it's like. I kind of checked out the next day, the album before this, and what I listened to wasn't that impressive, so I didn't really stick with it. But this one I really got into. Also, the other David Bowie highlights worth mentioning: his appearance and his work on the first David Cage game, Omnicron: The Nomad Soul, on Dreamcast.
Don't forget Labyrinth.
Labyrinth, of course.
Where there's a religion based on his crotch now.
He was going to be the villain of Blade Runner 2049, but obviously could not get to that in time.
That would have been... I didn't know about that. That would have really been cool.
Yeah, instead of Jared Leto, it would have been David Bowie, which I think would have worked a lot better.
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, I just want to, whilst I'm saying this kind of, pretentiousness part that I did, I just want to say, this album starts off really strong as well. Yes. I think the actual opener, Blackstar, is great. 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore, despite the title, good song.
Based on an old play.
The highlight. Yeah. Lazarus is the highlight of here by far.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely a haunting track. But then just from there, it's just kind of there. This album kind of drags a bit. The songs just don't hit as well for me. Maybe if I had more emotional attachment. I don't. I'm not gonna go full criticizing, because it's not too much to criticize this album. This is still a good album.
Yeah.
But it's an album that feels like after the first 3 songs, it's just kind of there for me. It's just nothing really hit that much. And this is I know this is I'm kind of scared to say some of these, because I know some of these takes, because I know a lot of people have a massive attachment to this album.
Don't be scared. It's okay.
I'm still gonna say it anyway. And again, I got nothing really bad to say, but it just somewhat didn't interest me as much as I thought it could have towards the end of this album.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I think it's the perfect follow-up to Paralytic Stocks, because Paralytic Stocks is very much an experimental avant-garde, kind of using like sax and woodwinds and stuff like that. And this album was kind of that same spirit a little bit, and it's very trying experimental jazz and art rock and stuff.
Yeah, Bowie definitely wasn't afraid to experiment, which is definitely one of the highlights of this album, though.
Yeah, and it feels like a modern album in a way that like an equivalent like Huey Lewis's Weather that we listened to last year does not.
Yes.
Like that is a band just coasting on their fame, and this is somebody still trying to push going forward at 69 years old.
Someone who's trying to push and going forward when he's literally about to die.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think songs like Girl Loves Me are really interesting just because if I hear like kind of that Kendrick influence that they've talked about with this, I hear, you know, like some of the death grips that they've mentioned that they're into.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just like there's something about Girl Loves Me in particular that's like its explicitness is very intriguing, and it's like just I don't know. He sounds modern in a way that a lot of older groups do not.
Yeah. He got with the times, old man.
I mean, he's always been interested in technology. Like I was reading on his various tech adventures. He had an ISP for a while.
Oh wow.
It was just Bowie Net. Like you could just sign up for it.
That's pretty funny.
Wow.
He had he had bonds in his name that you could just buy.
Huh.
For a hot minute there to get some money for like some song royalties or some song rights or something like that. And it was like a 10-year project that, you know, he got the bonds, then he bought off the bonds. And it was done.
Wow.
It just, you know, he seems to be somebody who is interested in keeping modern and fresh with music, with just life in general.
Yeah.
Which is admirable, definitely. And I think songs like Blackstar really kind of like express that and how strange of a structured song it is.
Definitely.
It kind of starts with this like kind of Gregorian, almost just kind of weird kind of electronic beat, and then it's just him chanting and singing, and then you go with that for a while, and then it changes into like the actual Blackstar kind of song content before eventually going back into that first style.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really intriguing thing where even that, like, it's a long song. It's a long track. It's 9 minutes and 58 seconds, and he wanted to actually make it 11 minutes, but apparently because Apple won't release that as a single, he had to cut it, or he felt like he should cut it.
Fair enough.
Because on iTunes, any song's over 10 minutes, you have to buy the album.
Yeah.
Good old iTunes.
And like
never.
And like songs.
I mean, that makes sense for
sense
for something like Dope Smoker, but
yeah. And like songs like Sue and 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore were kind of done earlier. There was a couple singles in 2014, and then we recorded for this album. I think these versions are better and more like interesting and manic even. Like there's a lot of manic moments on this album that are just amazing to listen to, with like the sax going wild and everything kind of crescendoing in a way where it's like, this is a really great band, a really great backing band.
Yeah.
I got nothing more to say.
Album really good.
It's experimental jazz. It's like just a lot of cool stuff.
I appreciate the album. I appreciate, obviously, David Bowie's just a very influential musician out there, and obviously just like, even whilst this album doesn't hit as much as it could for me, and I don't enjoy it as much as I know a bunch of people have, there's still nothing but respect for this album. Someone who is definitely experimenting till the end of their time. They're not someone who died playing it safe. I can understand why people have attached this album as emotionally as they have. I can definitely understand why people love it as much as they do. Maybe if I come back to this album, I'm more likely to come back to this than I am to Mathwax, and maybe if I come back to this more, maybe I'll start to see why. Because this is actually, like, this week was actually my first time listening to this in full.
Yeah.
So
Same
maybe
here.
if I go back to this more, maybe I'll appreciate it. But just to now, there's still parts that just didn't hit so well. I still definitely think the first 3 songs on here, very strong songs, especially Lazarus. I think Lazarus is I can get the hype for that song.
Hmm.
Like this album made me choked up more than the other two did. Carrie Lowell Crow looked at me. Like this is the album that really got to me more than that because I think it is so much more personal of a thing about he is actually dying instead of somebody else. And I don't know, there's something about that I guess that just makes me more emotionally connected to it. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Just in case everyone heard that.
No.
Never mind. That was no, that was Ash going. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Lazarus, great song, my favorite probably. I also really like Blackstar itself. Girl Loves Me. I think, like where the fuck did Monday go? Such a simple line, such a simple hook, but it works really, really well.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could read into about like his mental state, his physical state, writing these songs and kind of putting these songs out of just like what's going on in his life. It's fascinating, lovely, haunting. Insert adjectives. Just album about. It's very sad. I don't really have a least favorite. Maybe something like Dollar Days or I Can't Give Everything Away would be in the lower end just because it kind of just was where the album trails off a little bit, but not very much. I appreciate like the kind of the ambient sounds they use, like Anticipated She Was a Whore. They have this kind of raspy, ragged breathing, or in Dollar Days, kind of the page turning or money counting sounds or whatever. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I got no real
don't.
least favorite or favorite. Favorite Lazarus, sorry. Least favorite. Don't really have one, but probably the last track because that was kind of the most forgettable. I can't give everything away. Yeah. That's the one.
I mostly listen to this while driving, so I do not have. I could not. I could not like critically listen to it, but I enjoyed the whole thing.
And with that comes all 3 albums.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm just gonna rank first and get the controversy out of the way. Number 3 is Meth Wax. Number 2, maybe one day I would put it higher, but I'm putting Blackstar as number 2, and then Paging Mr. Strike as number 1.
Trix, what do you think?
I think I'm gonna have the same except swap Machine Gun Fellatio and Blackstar.
See, I can understand the
the-
argument for Paging Mr. Strike being number 1. I also considered that during this week. But I think the Bowie project.
Yeah, I was too.
I think the Bowie project is just too impressive and too like interesting in a way. Like I have to respect it a little bit more and put it as number 1. Machine Gun Fellatio number 2. Meth Wax number 3.
There could be generally a time in the future where I do a retrospective and change mine. I'm just doing my ranking for now.
But I do have to
Fair
give
enough.
props to Machine Gun Fellatio for making it a tighter race than I ever would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads us now to what are we listening to next week?
Is next week 2021?
It is.
Yes.
Cool. I need to. I kind of forgot to pick an album, so I'll go last.
He'll go last. Okay. I'll go first, I guess. This is just an album I kind of stumbled on, just by looking at the new releases, trying to like suss out what's good. And I'm going to be doing the album "Chew the Scenery" by Oscar Lang.
Okay. I've gone back and forth about what I wanted to do. I told Trix one thing. I've changed my mind. Through our discussions this week and just kind of re-looking and reassessing my life and what I ultimately would be happy is choosing. I ultimately feel that there is only one choice that will make me truly happy. So I am choosing Through the Soil.
Oh,
All right.
that's gonna be 5 years of listening.
So the thing I
Okay,
will say for Through the Soil, being the album that it is, listen to it if you can, a couple times if you can. Ultimately, I think try to pick out 5 or 10 tracks that are your favorites, maybe 3 to 5 that are your least favorites, and we'll go with that.
So I haven't been able to pick yet, so I'm gonna let you two choose a genre.
I just
Come
think
on,
you
let's
should just
do
do
it.
Black
Let's do
Midi.
No, I'm not. No, that's a coward's pick. No, you two gotta have to pick a genre, and I'll pick them now.
Rock.
Rock Tricks, what are you going with?
Punk, I guess. I don't know.
Rock, punk, mix those together. You want to go emo?
How about the Dirty Nil?
We're going emo.
Okay.
I've decided for us. We're all going emo, and we're gonna do a band that kind of falls under the Glass Beach. It's just what I'm gonna call them. It's the Glass Beach Roof, which obviously now bands like Homer's Wear and stuff fall under. And this is the band I've been following since 2019. They put out a double album this year, kind of based off the meme that they've granted themselves, based off a lyric in their debut album, and that is Origami Angels Gami Gang.
All right.
All right. That came out this year.
That came out this year, yes.
That is excellent.
I've been meaning to do this for a while, and now I can finally put it on, just listen to it, and then forget that I had 2 other albums to listen to. But until then, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, ritalin4kids.github.io. I also have a YouTube, which I don't really post things onto. I also have a game that might be updated by the time that this episode comes out, so give that a play. It's free on Steam. Here's the link if you look at that. If you're actually looking at the description where that link is, whilst I say that, and you can just imagine me actually showing you the link. So please make sure that 15 seconds ago you were looking at the description.
Hey, Ritz, can I get a picture of your hands for this episode art?
No.
Trex, can I get a picture of your hands?
You know my name. You
Yeah,
can
sure.
just put my name in this set of hands.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just take that image that I used recently and just
I
redo it.
feel bad about doxing my own name, but then I realized my YouTube channel has my name on it, so it's like...
Fair enough. I've been
There
Dominic.
you go.
You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I've written for Tilting Windmill Studios in the past. I do not currently, but if you want to read my writing, you can go there. I have a YouTube channel, Dominic Jacoki, but not really worth following. But hey. Also, Dissonant Waves has a YouTube channel, which you're currently probably on. Dissonant Waves. We're on Twitter at Dissonant Waves. We have a website, dissonantwaves.space.
I've been Tricks, so you can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut _ like procrastinating astronaut, and then an underscore. And that's
Tricks
about all I
posts
got.
dark, out of context tweets.
Also, Procrastrobot and your other bot
Yep.
account. I gotta remember to add
That I'm
those.
working on.
Yeah. Remind yourself next time, Tricks, before you post something on Twitter that I'm leaving tomorrow, I'm so sweaty, holy shit, that you also mentioned that you're moving out.
I had mentioned that I was moving like prior.
You did it out of nowhere, and I got a text from someone going like, "Hey, the streets are pretty dark. Should we check up on her?" Just like, no, they're fine. They're just literally moving out of state.
I
Yeah.
knew that. It wasn't me. No, it wasn't.
Will not be pointing out who was concerned. The important part is, Tricks,
Somebody was concerned.
put in some context. It's, you know, those like out of context tweets that you end up seeing people use to kind of manipulate someone's social status.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and usually that's not too bad because the last tweet that's out there is big beefy sauce mummy.
That's my pinned tweet.
Oh, no, sorry, that's pinned. Crash just hit me, LeMay. I've been up for 20.5 hours and just realized it. See, that one has doesn't need context.
No.
But yeah, you did successfully made it to Indiana.
Yes, Trix is now based in Indiana, next to Illinois, where
Yes.
I am. We have gotten closer.
Yes.
Actually,
We
I'm
have.
just going. I'm doing a big plug for Trix's Twitter right now because this is just a ride to go for.
Oh yeah.
You seem to document every moment of your life, and
Not every moment, but I tweet a lot.
you ever read Garfield minus Garfield? It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same energy.
I'm taking
Love
that as a compliment.
Yeah, you're very good at shit posting.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna end this episode on a note of subscribe to Procrastinaut's Twitter. This is just fun.
And just to recap, we are doing Through the Soil by various artists, Oscar Lang's Chew the Scenery, Gami Gang by Origami Angels. See y'all next week, everybody. Bye.
Mhm.